Hello, welcome back to the channel, and it's another brew day. And this one is following on from the last one, and I'm going to do the Punk IPA 2010 to present edition. Now, it's in the book, but this one is going to be a target of 5.6%, you can see there, and I don't believe that is right to the current Punk IPA. Also, I'm going to be adding some Citra and Mosaic to this one, because I do believe they've used Citra and Mosaic now as well, rather than all them, but I have got all of them in. So this is going to be 8 hops. Yep, a lot of hops. So I'm going off their recipe, but just adding a Mosaic and Citra, scaled it down to my scale. Got my yeast there. My hops, 60, 30, Whirlpool, and it's going to have a big dry hop as well. So yeah, so it's going to be basically that, with some added hops which they keep mentioning, but it's going to be target 5.6 like I say, and I believe it's now 5.4. I'll still do a side-by-side taste test though, just for the fun, to be honest. But yeah, there we go. I'll crack on. I'll get these grains in the mill, get them crushed, and get the process started. That's my grains crushed. I noticed I never said it's going to be basically extra pale malt and a little bit of Cara malt in this, and the hops are what's the same is Attendam Chinook, and then we have got Nelson Sauvignon, Simcoe, Citra, Mosaic, Cascade, and Amarillo going into this. Hopefully my recipe's on the screen anyway, so you can see that with all the percentages. And I'm going to go for the yeast. I made a starter. It's a BRY yeast. Yeah, and then just some saltwater additions, but nicely crushed fine grain there for the brewing bag. Okay, strike water reached 69 for a 66 mash. So we're doing a 75-minute mash, 66 centigrade, and just getting all them grains in the bag. Do me normal, get it covered up using an old hoodie, some towels, and I'll come back 75 minutes and get it up to boil temp. Before I do the boil, get it up to a boil, I've got to get my salts in. My salt addition is just some gypsum and calcium chloride. Got my sample to do my pH, so I'll check that in about 15 minutes. Okay, I'm going to go with that because I probably will lose about a temp over the next 75 minutes. So 66 for the mash. Okay, so we're at the mash, that's done, 75 minutes. So just need to get the bag out, strain all the wort out of the bag. I'll put on screen now, when I talk about brewing a bag, hopefully a little bit of information comes up on the screen now. But basically it's like a big straining bag. All your malt goes in, get all your water in there, and then you just, well, let's see if it explains it on the screen. So the next stage now is to get the wort up to a boil, get the hop break, and then start adding my hops. Okay, so you can see I've got 1044, which is actually bang on target for the pre-boil gravity, so I'm chuffed with that. So there we go, we're at the boil. Hot break now. Get all them proteins breaking there. And then we'll start with the first edition of hops, which is Chinook and Atenum at 60 minutes. And then there's a 30-minute break until the next edition. You can stir this in if you want. Just take a big spoon. It'll just drop to the bottom of the kettle. So there we go, Atenum Chinook hops going in 60 minutes. Okay, 30-minute edition, Atenum and Chinook for flavouring. Okay, so 60-minute boil complete. Flame out. What I'm going to do now is a hop stand after the whirlpool, basically get it down to about 80 degrees, add the hop stand hops, and then leave it for 30 minutes before I put it in the cooling pan and then into the fermenter. So off the heat, I'm going to basically start stirring it to cool it down, but what I need to do is get a sample just into my jar, very small sample, just to see what my original gravity is going to be. So all I've got to do is put my thermometer in. You can't see it because of my daft big hands, but basically start to just stir it around. You can see all the cooling loss, that steam coming off. Cool it down, and then I'll be adding them hops. Okay, I've hit the 80°C, so right temperature, just trying to get a bit of a whirlpool. Then they're going to add the whirlpool hops, which is Atenum, Chinook, Nelson Sauvin and Simcoe. And what this will have as well, it's going to have a dry hop, which obviously is not on the brew day, but it says to leave that for 5 days. I think I'm going to go for about 3. Just again, just adjusting it slightly off that recipe in the book. So I'll go a 3-day dry hop with this. Like I say, that's going to have in the dry hop Atenum, Chinook, Nelson Sauvin, Simcoe, Citra, Mosaic, Cascade, and Amarillo. So let's get this whirlpool going now. And I'll drop the whirlpool hops in. Put a lid on it, 30-minute stand. I'll take that. Original gravity 1054, target was 1053, so just 1 point above. So I'm on target really, hopefully for a 5.6 Punk IPA. Cooling pan is, boiled the water in there, sanitised, got my straining bag from the tube from the kettle to the cooling pan just to filter out any debris, and then I can get cooling. Not really much to see here, but this is the wort now after the 30-minute stand. I'm going to send that now to the cooling pan. So as you can see there, that's my kettle, that's the tube. All I've got to do, release this, and then what you can see now is the filter bag and the tube and the wort going into the cooling pan for me. So what you can see there is all the protein and hops that have been left in the kettle. Normally I lose about 1.6 litres here. That's my calculations for the boil. What's normally left over here. I'll put that into a jug and I'll show you what that looks like in the jug. Just to show you that is what my filter bag does at the end of that tube. When I'm transferring to the cooling pan, it just stops all that protein and hop matter going in to the cooling process, to be honest. There we go. Bottles of ice, cooling pan in the sink, get it cooling. to pitching temp. So this is the jug. So this is the proteins and hops after the boil and after you've done your hop stand. So you can see that's what it looks like. So yeah, that's the loss. Okay, so transferring the cooled down wort now, pitching temperature, into the little king keg mini pressure keg fermenter thing. I'm going to pressure ferment about 2 psi. Nothing drastic on this because I want to try and keep some of them hop aromas and esters in it. So all going in, then I'll put the yeast in. Pitching the yeast, put the lid on, put a little bit of pressure on it, then leave it to ferment for 2 weeks, about 19 Celsius. So, don't know if you can hear that, but there's some CO2 escaping here at the end, because what I've done, I put some head pressure in there, and what I'm going to do now is reduce that head pressure to get it down to about 2 psi, if that will focus. Probably about the best I'm going to get there. So I'm trying to get it down to 2 psi, so I just need to undo that tap at the back and reduce it. Okay, I'm happy with that. We're getting down there now. So there it is. So it's sitting there now for 2 weeks. I dry hop it once the fermentation's finished. Give it 3 days on the dry hop. Then get it into another keg and get it carbonated. And then there'll be a grain to glass video. So, hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for watching. Cheers, and I'll see you on another one.